Bill, how big is this week in terms of being able to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish this year?
Yeah, obviously when you're playing probably arguably the two best teams in the league and two highly rated teams, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. But I don't know. I'm not going to get overly crazy about 1 week in a season. I'm just not. I mean, everyone else can. That's fine. I get it. But we have a lot of basketball to play. But yeah, it's certainly when you go back to back like that. It's a tremendous challenge. Two really good teams, two of the older teams in the country, and gonna see a lot of purple this week. So hopefully we're ready to go.
I know without Lee, they got beat on the road, tough environment, but they've still got a lot of depth. How do you describe them and how they're probably going to adjust?
Yeah, I think the thing about Kansas State that I mean their numbers are borderline ridiculous. I mean, their team, statistics and things like that. And I think there's a lot of things that go into that. Number one, they're very talented. They're extremely experienced. And I think one of the unique things about their team in modern day college sports is they're old, but they've been together. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of older players, like TCU has like 4 graduate students. Yeah. But they haven't played together. Like these kids have been playing together. I mean, Sundell and Glenn and those guys have been playing together forever. Right. And so I think when you add talent, experience, and a connected experience, I think that's a little bit more unique. And defensively, they've been really good. Offensively, very balanced. I think, I don't think there's any question that Sundell will be one of the finalists for Player of the Year in our league. I'm a huge fan of hers. She's going to be a great pro, I think. But again, it's just they play the game the right way. They don't beat themselves, and it's always a good environment when we play there.
Do you guard Sundell by committee, or do you task AJ? Or
no, it'll be by committee. I think the uniqueness with her is she has some length. And she has the ball a lot. They run a lot of good stuff for her. So you can't just have one person guard her. You have to pick your spots. And because they shoot the 3 so well, it's hard to double team her. It's hard to. So you just gotta try and be smart. But again, she's one of those kids that when she plays, the game ends and you're like, oh, she's pretty good. And you look at her stat sheet and you're like, damn, she was really good. I mean, the game is she fits the way they play, or they fit the way she plays, I guess. Yeah, we'd probably do it down with a lot of teams like that. But very impressed, and she knows how to win, and that's what you want from a senior and someone that's really impacted their program. We played against a lot of great K-State players over the years, and someday her jersey will be in the rafters with some of those other guys.
I know in the past you thought, okay, this could be a good matchup for Audie with them not having Lee. Is that something that could benefit you guys even more, because she more than held her own even against Naomi?
Yeah, she did. And I think the difference is probably how they're going to guard. And they have other big bodies. The Taylor kid played really well against Colorado in their last game. So, yeah, it's not Yoki Lee, obviously. Not the height. And I think that's the one thing that when Audie's struggled at times, it's been kids that are really, really athletic or sheer height of an opponent. But like you said, I thought she did a really good job last year of at least not, I think most people in the 2 games that we played would say it was a draw, or, at least there was no question Audie didn't walk out of there getting completely overwhelmed by her. So that was good. But yeah, it's hard to judge on what they'll do. But we try and prepare for a lot of different things, but certainly, Audie's going to be a big piece of what we do, and we'll have to decide early kind of how because right now it's kind of you front her and limit her touches, or when she catches it, you come get it. And those are 2 completely different styles. So we have to practice both of them basically every day. And hopefully we're getting a little better, because I think that's kind of what we're going to see the rest of the year, I think.
How important is it to really guard the perimeter with how well they shoot it?
Oh, yeah. I think you look at their numbers again on both sides of the ball. Defensively, their stats are great. Offensively, I don't know what, they're in the top 5 in three-point percentage. So, again, some of that is your offense. And if your offense is crazy and you turn the ball over, then it's a transition 3. And so you got to do a really good job there, which we've struggled to guard the three-point line. There's been games when we've been fine, and then there's been 4 or 5 games when we've just been either we've been terrible, the other team's been great, or a combination of both, and that's not a good night. And when you're on the road and they get it going and start making threes, then you're in trouble. But we've got to be better on the three-point line than we've been, and we've spent a lot of time working on it for the last month or so, but hopefully it'll start to show up in a game.
Are you starting to see teams, because Adi's, as you mentioned, they're trying to limit her in so many different ways, but are you seeing teams increasingly try one thing, maybe it works for a while, you guys adjust, then they go to the other thing, so you might see fronting, you might see the mob approach.
There are very few teams that we've played that have just decided. I think Texas Tech decided that might be the last game where they just said, we're not going to let you shoot the 3. And we just kept throwing the ball to Audie and Addie all night. Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. Most people, I think the Kansas game is probably the game that, hey, we're going to play our one-on-one. She has 16 points. All right, we got to try something else. And some of it is who's guarding Audie. Some of it is, are we making a shot or not? Some of it is if Emily Ryan's in the game or not. It all kind of moves in parts. But I think what we've seen is more who is the post defender on Audie, and then they kind of make their plan accordingly. If they have a physical kid that, hey, we're just gonna, like West Virginia just ran one body after another and just said, let's go. And some teams do it differently, but yeah, it really hasn't been one way. And I think it'll come to that when it's one way, when we really, really struggle to shoot the ball. Then obviously it makes it a little easier to defend the post if there's not a threat on the perimeter.
Is this the point in the season, Bill, where you think those difficult non-conference games you scheduled can kind of come back to help?
I don't know if they'll come back to help. I think it's probably, one of those things now that what we've talked to our players a lot about is there really isn't anything that we haven't seen. And whether it's size, athleticism, skill, and I said this before, it's like, we a lot of those games are on the road. So it was like, all right, when we go play at certain places, we've played really good teams away from Hilton. So you hope that it helps a little bit. For some of our players, I would probably say they don't remember playing those games or when they played them. But yeah, I think overall, when you look at your season, you want to say, all right, we've seen it, we've been in tough environments, let's figure it out. So whether it helps end of January, early February, I really don't know. But I hope that it's something that at least there's some memories that we can build from and experiences.
You think some of like a short memory when it comes to some of those?
Yeah, I hope you have a short memory with some of them. Yeah, I don't know. And again, I've said this to you guys all the time. I mean, our players don't remember what they had for breakfast. I mean, they move on quickly. It's a good thing. If they played really, really well, they'll remember. If they didn't play well and we lost, they move on. That's the world they grew up in. It's not, they live on Snapchat and Instagram. I mean, think about that. If that's what you're raised in, Insta and Snap, that doesn't correlate to long-term worrying and thinking and whatever. Those things just don't go together. And I think, I don't think that's a terrible thing. You hope that at some point there's some, things that we review, and that falls on us to balance that with, how much video do you show, how much do you move on, that's all part of it. But that's I think the modern day athlete that we're all dealing with, and hopefully the challenge for us right now is just you get ready for the next game as best you can.
How has Emily navigated the season with restricted minutes? It feels like at times she's sending her half shots more, but even when she doesn't, she ends up with 11, 12 assists.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened, and I think probably the two things, well, the biggest disappointment or the biggest thing for me is that when the year's over, I mean, what that kid has given to our school, to our league, to me, and to have it be kind of, I mean, limited, whatever way you want to put it. I mean, she's playing 60% of the minutes, okay? It just, that's hard. It's hard on her teammates. She's the only senior on her team. She plays point guard on our team. That's been hard, and obviously it's shown in games for her and for her teammates. And I think the other part of it that hurt her was when we had to shut Kenzie down. That was a big deal.
Yep.
That was a bigger deal than I anticipated. And again, that roster construction is on me, and that was a problem. And so I think when you put those two together, it's been a hard year for her in a lot of ways. I'm proud of how she's handled it. You won't see her complain, which is, again, in this day and age, not blaming other people for things is a heck of a deal. So I just hope that whatever time she has left, I hope it's as positive as it should be, because there's never been a kid I've been around in my life that deserves. You know, we all think we deserve things in life because we worked hard. That kid does, and hopefully whatever's left, whatever time that is, I hope she can enjoy it, because she's, like I said, she's earned it.
Do you ever expect that 60% to change as the postseason or something?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's been discussed. It'll probably move a little bit. It won't move dramatically. I think there'll be some moments where it could go up or down a little bit. We have to really monitor her health, and that's our focus. And it's not about the next game. It's about how does the next game impact the rest of her life. And that's our focus, our medical team's focus. We have to be smart about it. I think we've done that. I think she's done that. So I guess for me, my thing is probably, instead of, gosh, I wish she could play more, I'm going to celebrate what she can play. I guess that's, my wife's always telling me, the glass is more, the half full. I've never been that kind of person, ever. So I'm gonna try with Emily the rest of the season.
Is that as big of a burden as to manage a player's rest of their life, from a coaching standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's important that's. I mean, we try and do that with everyone. I mean, you want them to enjoy their collegiate experience, but at the same time, she has things in her life medically that we have to be smart about. And basketball is going to end for all of us at some point. For the players, for the coaches, and when it's over, you want to make sure that we've done the things that we should do. And I've been a head coach 37 years. I've never not one time, ever said to a trainer that kid's going to play, or to a doctor. I never, ever, never will. That's one thing that I can look everyone in the eye and say. So it's just, let's do what we can. Let's protect her, and I think both can be done. And our medical staff's done amazing work, and hopefully Emily will come out of it the way she should. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate your time.